Hey, what's up guys? Icy Soul for Icy Duelist here, bringing you another episode of my beginner's guide to Yu-Gi-Oh! Today we're going to be looking in depth into spells and traps, and by the end of this video you should pretty much have the all the mechanics you need to know about spells and traps. You should know them by the end of this video, so you kind of mastered monsters in the last video. In this one, you're gonna pretty much master spells and traps. Every other piece of information that you need to know about spells and traps is in this video. So, let's get into this. So, there are 6 different types of spell cards. And we're gonna be going through each of them in this video. Starting out here, we have quick play spell cards. Now you'll notice with all of these different types that they'll have a symbol in a circle like this on the top right of the card. You see it right there, the same matching symbol. And quick play spell cards have this kind of lightning bolt kind of symbol up in the corner there. And quick play spell cards, they can be set in main phase 1 or 2, just like any other spell card. They can be activated from your hand during any phase of your turn, which is a special bonus for quick play spell cards. Normal like other spell cards, you kind of have to play them in main phase 1 and 2. But quick play spell cards can be activated from your hand during any phase on your turn. Face down, they can be activated on either player's turn, kind of like traps, but also kind of like traps. You cannot activate a quick play spell card on the same turn you set it. That's something to remember. And they can be chained to other cards. We'll talk about chains in pretty deep detail at the end of the video, so look for that. Next, we have field spell cards. Now, I know we kind of talked a tiny bit about field spells in like the understanding the field video and everything, and there's I keep saying we're gonna be delving even deeper into field spell in the Arc V mechanics, but for this part right here, all you need to know is that field spell cards are marked by this symbol right here up in the corner, like Medolce Chateau, and the attributes of a field spell card is that it applies an effect to the entire field, which affects both players. So if you play a field spell, both your field and your opponent's field are affected by it. So they're mostly centered around boosting or weakening the attack or defense, or giving or negating effects to various monster types, attributes, archetypes, levels, etc. So they basically kind of mess with the entire board, like in those kind of following ways. And of course, as I said before, field spells are a special type of spell cards that go in the dedicated field spell zone on the game board, which we covered in the first episode of this tutorial series. So that's all you need to know about field spells. There is a little bit more to field spells, like I said, that is brand new information and was just implemented this past year with the Arc V mechanics. We'll get into that. I'm thinking in the next video we'll get to the Arc V mechanics, and there's really not much you need to know about field spells. This is the majority of what you need to know about field spells is right here. There's only a little bit more information about field spells that we'll cover in the next video. Moving on, we have equip spell cards. These are marked by this different little cross here. Now notice, I'm going to show you field spells again real quick. This is the field spell logo. You'll notice it's a tiny bit different. It's got like these like pinwheel kind of a things, while the equip spells have just a straight up just like cross on them. And equip spells, as you see, there's the marking there. Equip spells, the best way to think of equip spells, they're like add-ons for your face-up monsters. If you're a gamer, you know, the best way to explain them is like it's like DLC for your monsters. Basically, if you know you're a gamer, you may understand what that means. And the purpose of equip cards is to raise or lower the attack and defense, or apply new effects to a monster. So one monster can also have many equip spells added to it, but only one equipped spell may be attached to one monster at a time. So, as here's a card, you see United We Stand. You know I love United We Stand. I run it in like a lot of decks. It's just such a good card. But say for example, you can have multiple United We Stand cards attached to a single monster, say like my Mahavilo that I use in my Dark Girlfriend's deck, for example, and you can have like multiple copies of United We Stand and other equipped cards equipped to that single Mahavilo, but you cannot equip a single United We Stand to like two monsters at a time. You can only equip one spell card to one monster, but the monster may have other copies of that equipped spell or other equipped spells equipped to it. So I hope you get what I'm trying to say with that. Moving on, we have ritual spell cards. Now, ritual spell cards, as you probably already know from the ritual summoning tutorial, are used to ritual summon the blue bordered ritual monsters. Pretty self-explanatory. They often require a tribute of monsters whose total combined levels are, at minimum, equal to the level of the ritual monster you are attempting to summon. This total is often allowed to exceed the ritual monster's actual level if the player desires, though not always, as we saw, was the case with the ritual spell End of the World. Some ritual spells are kind of different in that regard, but for the most part, that's generally the ruling for ritual spells. As you see, we have White Dragon Ritual here. And since this card is used to ritual summon Paladin of White Dragon, you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total level is equal to 4 or more. And that's another thing I have on a point on the board here. Tributes can be made from the hand or the field. So, basically, pretty much the majority of ritual spell cards work in this exact same way. Moving on to the next type of spell, we have continuous spell cards, like Valhalla Hall of the Fallen here. Continuous spell cards are actually not sent to the graveyard after activation. They remain face up on the field until they are flipped face down or destroyed either by their own effect or another card effect. So once you activate a continuous spell, you just keep it face up unless an opponent activates a card that flips it face down, or they just flat out destroy the card altogether. And they remain just face up on the field, occupying their zone, in your spell and trap card zone, until one of those two, until it's destroyed, basically. But its effect will, you'll stop getting its effect if it's flipped face down. But it'll still occupy that zone. The only way you can get it out of your spell and trap card zone is to actually destroy it. So that's continuous spell cards. Finally, for spell cards, we have normal spell cards. Of course, these do not have a symbol in the upper right corner, and they are sent to the graveyard after the effect resolves. Now, here's a little interesting thing. It's worth knowing, I think, especially for players who have like a lot of who want to get some cards, and you know they may see this and may freak out and think they're fake. But I want to point this out. All spells, including all 5 previous types that I mentioned, may be printed or labeled as magic cards on some older first edition TCG cards. These are still considered spell cards and are tournament legal, official, legitimate cards. Spell cards just used to be printed as magic cards. However, from the expansion set Magician's Force onward, they were printed as spell cards due to Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that makes Magic the Gathering TCG, threatening Konami with a lawsuit due to the similarities between these magic cards and cards in their card game, Magic the Gathering. So, that's kind of a neat little tidbit about why Magic cards then became spell cards, and why, there's a little bit of a difference. You'll actually notice on some older cards they'll mention Magic cards, but just know when they mention Magic cards, they're referring to spell cards. It was just from a different era when they were calling these kinds of cards Magic cards, and since they had this lawsuit threatened on them, they've had since changed it to spell cards. But if you see the word Magic card written on a Yu-Gi-Oh card, it's referring to a spell card. It's just from a different time when they were called something different. So that's all that means about that. Moving on to traps, we have 3 official types of traps, and then 2 kind of subtypes of traps. So moving on, we have counter trap cards, or the first type of trap card, like Solemn Warning, and they are used to counteract, as their name suggests, counteract various card effects. They often involve negating summons or other card effects. And they can only be negated by other counter trap cards. So they are the only card in the game that can actually be stopped by other cards in their type, which is kind of interesting. And the powerful counter traps usually have some kind of cost or downside to using them. Like Solemn Warning, for example, it costs 2,000 life points to use. So that's counter traps. Moving on to continuous trap cards now. Just like continuous spell cards, continuous trap cards remain face up on the field until flipped face down or destroyed by their own effect or another card effect. So they're pretty much just like continuous spells, pretty much. And usually the difference between continuous traps and continuous spells, apart from the fact that one's a trap, one's a spell, is that continuous traps usually require a cost or condition to avoid destruction or negation of its own effect. Like, for example, on Call of the Haunted, it allows you to special summon a monster from your graveyard in face-up attack position. But the cost of this card says that when this card leaves the field, destroy that target, and vice versa. When that target is destroyed, destroy this card. So if Call of the Haunted is destroyed, your monster goes. If your monster goes, Call of the Haunted is destroyed. So that's kind of what the cost is for that continuous trap card. Finally, for the official types of traps, we have the normal trap cards, which don't have a symbol in the upper right corner and are sent to the graveyard after the effect resolves. So those are the basic types of traps. And moving on, we have 2 subtypes of traps that aren't officially a type of trap. They're kind of just subcategories within the existing 3 types of traps that I've just mentioned. But we'll go into them. The first is equip traps. Now, unlike equip spells, equip traps are not distinguished by any special markings and are considered to be normal trap cards. I don't know if they have any other trap cards that are equip traps that are counter or continuous. They might, but I'm pretty sure they're all normal trap cards. And they can be targeted by any card effect that targets a quote-unquote equipped card, or they can be targeted by any card effect that targets a normal trap card while they are face up on the field. But cannot be targeted by any card effect that specifically targets an equipped spell card, because this is not an equipped spell, it's an equipped trap. Also, if any card just says you can target a generic, anything generic in your spell and trap card zone, that can also target equipped traps. And it functions pretty much the same way as an equipped spell does, pretty much. Stays face up on the field, and kind of is an add-on for a monster. So that's equipped traps. Moving on, we have trap monsters. Now, these aren't a specific type of monster, so don't go thinking, "Oh my God, you left out a monster in the monster part." No, this is actually a trap. So, trap monsters are special kinds of continuous trap cards that can be special summoned as monsters once they are activated. Until they are activated, though, they're considered just regular trap cards. With just continuous trap cards. They are treated as both a monster card, which the monster that it's special summoned as will be listed in the card text, as well as a trap card. So your opponent can target it as either a monster or a trap while it is face up on the field. So that's basically all there is to know about spells and traps, like the different kinds. Let's look at probably the biggest mechanic that we haven't talked about yet, and that is chains. And what are chains? Well, a chain is formed when one player activates a card effect and another effect is activated in response. Another card is activated in response by the other player. Now, each card activated in response to another's activation forms a new chain link. The initial card being responded to becomes chain link 1, while the card being used to respond becomes chain link 2. Each new card activated becomes the next sequential link in the chain. If a card was activated in response to chain link 2, for example, that card would become chain link 3. The card that responds to chain link 3 would become chain link 4, and so on. And this is the biggest thing to remember about chains, is that chains resolve backwards. Don't ever forget that. You'll have a bad time if you forget this one simple rule about chains, is that chains resolve backwards. So, for example, if we have reached a chain link 4, if our opponent can't respond with a chain link 5, the chain starts resolving. And our chain it resolves backwards, so that means our chain link 4's card effect will activate, then chain link 3, then chain link 2, then chain link 1. So, to give you guys a visual demonstration of chains. So here, let's just say I'm dueling my waifu Tori, and I activate the spell card Raigeki, which destroys all monsters on the field. So Tori can, I ask, does she have a response? And Tori can say, yes, I chain. And she chains Magic Jammer, which says whenever a spell card is activated, discard one card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So, say for this example, I don't have a response to Magic Jammer. The chain starts resolving. So, the chain resolves backwards, and that means that Tori's Magic Jammer's effect is successful in negating my Raigeki, so I don't get the effect of my Raigeki. But let's look at a little more complicated of a chain. So let's say that I activate Soul Charge, which lets me pay 1,000 life points to special summon per monster from the graveyard I wish to special summon. And in response, Tori chains Call of the Haunted. Now, Call of the Haunted does not negate my Soul Charge. It, of course, lets Tori special summon a monster from her graveyard in attack position. But I can still keep the chain going. I can say, well, in response to your Call of the Haunted, I chain Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy Call of the Haunted, which, of course, as you know, as I explained earlier, when Call of the Haunted is destroyed, so is the monster that it special summoned. So that would kind of stop her Call of the Haunted. That would negate her Call of the Haunted, if the chain stopped there. But let's say it didn't. Let's say the chain kept going. Tori chains to my Mystical Space Typhoon. She chains Dark Bride, which lets me draw one card, and in return, Tori gets to negate the effect of my spell card. So, at this current state, my Mystical Space Typhoon would be negated. But let's say I keep the chain going. Let's say I chain Pot of Greed to Tori's Dark Bribe. Now, Jar of Greed does not negate Dark Bribe. Jar of Greed just is a trap card that lets me draw one card. Now, say Tori does not have a response to Chainlink 5, my Jar of Greed. So, the chain starts resolving backwards. In which case, I would get the effect of my Jar of Greed, because it is the last link in the chain. And since it does not negate Dark Bribe, Tori would get her effect from Dark Bribe, which would then negate my Mystical Space Typhoon. Since my Mystical Space Typhoon is now negated, Tori's Call of the Haunted effect is able to go through. She's able to summon her monster, and since her Call of the Haunted does not negate my Soul Charge, I too would be able to get the effect of my Soul Charge and special summon my monster. So that's basically it. As always, if you have any questions regarding Yu-Gi-Oh, make sure to leave them in this video. I'll be happy to answer them. And you guys are so close to the end of this tutorial playlist. And you're very close to becoming a true champion duelist. We only have one more like integral gameplay tutorial, and then a few more videos that are not necessarily like super integral to the gameplay, but will definitely help you become a true champion duelist. So you're nearing the end of this journey, guys, and if you followed along to this point, congratulations. You are pretty well educated in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! As of this point. So that's going to do it for me for this episode, and make sure you look for the next episode coming really soon. We're going to be delving into the Arc V mechanics in the next episode. And yeah, that's it. This is Icy Soul for Icy Duelist, signing out.